Hey everybody, and welcome to another Brood Book Reviews video. So I've been seeing this tag going around the Booktube community recently, and I decided, what the hell, I'll do it. I haven't done a tag in a little while. I'm not sure who originally created this, but I will look that up for you and put a link down below or something. I was just too excited to actually get to do the tag, to really do my research about it. I think this is not a new tag though. It's been going around for a couple years now, and this is the mid-year book freakout tag. It's kind of just like a fun tag going over what you've read for the year so far, what you're hoping to read the remainder of the year, and stuff that you're excited for that hasn't come out yet. All that stuff. Without further ado, let's jump into it, shall we? Question number 1 is best book you've read so far in 2017. And without a doubt, for me, it is The Republic of Thieves by Scott Lynch. This is the third book in the Gentleman Bastard series, and I really highly enjoyed this, even though it did take me a good month to read, but that's more because I'm still in my weird reading slump mood thing, so that does not have any say on how amazing this book is. I really enjoyed this, and because of that, I'm so excited for the next book in this series. A lot of secrets about Locke are revealed in this book, so it's just the best of the three, so definitely the most awesome thing I've read so far. Question number 2 is best sequel you've read so far in 2017. I'm gonna go with The House of Hades by Rick Riordan. This is the 4th book in the Heroes of Olympus series, and it was the best sequel. It was the best book out of the entire series, to be honest, and I was just having so much fun with this. It was even better than the last book in the series, which I felt really disappointed about. Just seeing Percy and Annabeth's adventures in Tartarus, and just seeing Rick Riordan's take or perspective on what it looks like, that was the most fascinating thing to me. Out of all of them, this was definitely the best one. Question number 3 is new releases you haven't read yet but want to. So I don't own them, but there's 3 that I'm interested. The Love Interest by Cale Dietrich is how I want to say it. All I know about that is there's like these 2 guys that are after this one girl, and they're kind of like competing in a competition, and along the way they end up falling in love with each other instead of her, which I think is just awesome, so I need to read that story. The other 2 I was really interested in was Roar by Cora Carmack. That just looks like a cute little YA fantasy. And then there's another one that is a contemporary romance, surprisingly, that I'm really interested in reading, and I cannot tell you the name of the book. I'm just gonna put it right here, but it's escaping me. But it is basically about a Korean American girl who decided to come up with a like K-drama love plan to get this guy to fall in love with her, and I love K-dramas, so the premise of that just sounds so intriguing to me. Number 4 is most anticipated releases for the second half of the year. Okay, so excited. I would like to read Oathbringer when it comes out. Also Sarah J. Maas's Tower of Dawn. A lot of people don't like this cover, but I actually really like it. I think it fits really well with the story, just because it doesn't have the main character on the cover anymore. I think that's the only thing, but I actually really like the landscape in the back. Is this supposed to be the last book? I'm not 100% sure, but I feel it has like a last book vibe to me. Then I think I need to reread the last couple books, or at least the last book for this series, but The Core by Peter V. Brett, which is the 5th book in the Demon Cycle series, is coming out, and I'm so excited. You guys know that series is on my top 5 list, and so when is that coming out? Because I'm gonna read it immediately. And of course, also the 4th book in the Gentleman Bastard series, The Thorn of Emberlane by Scott Lynch. Question number 5 is the biggest disappointment, and I actually don't own this book anymore because I decided to sell it, but that is Nevernight by Jay Kristoff. You guys know, if you watched one of my wrap-ups, I did talk about my disappointments in this book. Now, I did enjoy it for the most part. I just had a lot of issues with it. So if you want, I'll leave a link to my video where I talk about it down below. Question number 6 is biggest surprise. The Black Prism by Brent Weeks. This is the first book in the Lightbringer series, and I do own book 2, and I plan on getting to it hopefully soon, if not at some point this year. I was super shocked. The beginning was kind of meh, but there's a secret revealed pretty quickly towards the beginning of the book that as soon as I learned that, the story just completely changed for me and I was hooked. I was so ready to finish reading this. The other series that I want to mention briefly is I also really enjoyed Monster by Naoki Urasawa. This series just was full of twists and turns. If you're into thrillers and you want to get into a manga, I highly suggest Monster. Question number 7 is favorite new author, either debut or just new to you. And for that, without a doubt, now is Robin Hobb. As you guys know, if you watched my last video, I am in the middle of reading this series. I am almost done with the first book and I am already hooked. I love her writing. I love the stories. I'm gonna go jumping straight into this book and then this, and I was already on Book Depository contemplating purchasing the it's the trilogy following the Farseer trilogy, the one about magic of ships or ship of magic, I think it's the first book. Already, yes, please give me more Robin Hobb. Question number 8 is newest fictional crush. So I don't typically crush on book characters. I'm just gonna mention a couple of my favorite characters. I'm just gonna go back to this and say I'm really enjoying Kip's character. I feel like his character is going to go through a major growth spurt, and I don't mean like he's gonna get taller. The way he views things now, he's kind of the character that is confused and there's a lot of secrets being kept from him, secrets that he needs to know and he needs to be aware of. He's just learning that how to use his magic and all of that stuff, so I just have a feeling that Kip over time is just going to become one of my favorite characters, and he's already that way, and he's just the underdog and I'm rooting for him. I'm all there. Yes, go Kip. And then number 9 goes into newest favorite character, which I feel like newest crush and newest favorite character kind of go hand in hand, but not really, I guess. And for that one, I'm gonna go back to the Republic of Thieves. The character I'm going to mention is Sabitha, which is the main female lead in this book. She's been mentioned in previous books, like the first 2 books, but she's not actually present in those. This one, she is very present from the beginning, and you kind of like, the way that Scott Lynch does the Gentleman Bastard series is you're constantly going back and forth into the past and then the present. Usually what they're talking about in the past is related to what's going on in the present or has some significant reason that it's brought up because of something that's happening right at that moment. And I really like that about this series. So you learn a lot about Sabitha, about her past, and kind of her relationship with Locke. And so yes, she's a badass character, and she is one of my favorites now. Question number 10 is a book that made you cry. And at first I thought that there wasn't any. It is without a doubt. And it didn't really like physically make me cry, but it was the most emotional story that I read this year so far. But I don't actually own that one. I borrowed it from a friend, but I do have some of the other comics, and that is the Avatar comics, but more specifically The Search, which goes into Zuko looking for his mother. That story was heart-wrenching, but I highly recommend the Avatar comics. If you really loved the TV show, this continues the story immediately right after the last episode in book 3. And leading into that, question 11 is book that made me happy. Why would I go with anything else? The Crown Tower by Michael J. Sullivan. This is the first book in the Rhaenyra Chronicles, which is the prequel to the Rhaenyra Revelations, and you guys know how much I talk about that book series to begin with, and I just knew I would like this because these 2 main characters are just hilarious together, so this just had me smiling and laughing out loud so much the entire time. Question number 12, favorite book to film adaptation you saw this year. So I, for the life of me, can't think of any book to movie adaptations that I've seen this year. I don't see a lot of movies, to be honest. I don't watch many, many movies. I actually think I did see Miss Peregrine this year at some point, but I was not a fan. And maybe it's because I haven't read the books, but I fell asleep. So instead, since I don't really have any movies, I am going to talk about a trailer that I saw. I am super excited for Stephen King's The Dark Tower. I think the first one's like Gunslinger, something like that. I saw the trailer for that the other day and I was like, why am I not reading this book series? So I might actually pick up the first book in that series before I go see the movie. I'm not sure when it's coming out, sometime this year? I don't know. It looks fantastic. If you haven't seen the trailer for that, go check it out. So number 13 is favorite review that you've recorded this year so far. And that is the review I did on Pluto by Naoki Urasawa. This is a really short 8-volume sci-fi manga that is just as suspenseful as any Naoki story out there, just like Monster. It's got a lot of twists and turns and unanswered questions, and if you're into Isaac Asimov, I highly recommend this because even though I haven't read any Isaac Asimov, I felt very iRobot vibes from this. Question number 14 is most beautiful book you've bought so far this year, and I'm pretty sure it is The Alchemist of Loom by Elise Kova. I just freaking love the cover to this. It is so gorgeous. Just beautiful artwork on the front. And then finally, question number 15 is what books do you need to read by the end of the year? All of them. I kind of want to do a separate video of a stack of books that I have planned on reading, and so I want to do that in a different video, but I will tell you one thing, that all of my anticipated reads that are coming out this year, obviously I want to get them read by the end of the year, so there is that. If you guys have any comments or questions down below, leave them in the doobly-doo, and also if you guys want to do this tag, you're tagged. I'm not tagging anybody since this isn't a new tag. Pretty sure most people have done it already, and as always, have a good day. Bye guys!